Before we turn it over to Joel, just want to let you know we do this every month, the second Wednesday of the month, and it's a free call. It's a toll-free call, so we pick up the dime on it. And we encourage you to join in. We have guest speakers, agents that use our system, have used it for years, and we do this just to encourage you to learn any new techniques, anything to encourage you to keep moving forward in the commercial arena. So what we'll do is we'll have Joel do his piece, and then before we open for questions, Rob Rector's with Main Street Marketing. They're approved vendor with farmers, and it's a way that you can get our program at Aidable through them, and I'll let Rob explain that. Rob will then do a webinar tomorrow at 1 p.m., and we'll explain the boss strategy. And then we'll open it up for questions. So we'll try not to take more than 20 or 30 minutes max, and if you got some good questions, go ahead and write them down and ask them in a little bit here. So, Joel, you with us?
I'm here.
All right, Joel. You're the man.
So I guess,
appreciate you doing this.
Hey, anytime. So I guess maybe I'll just kind of go through a background of our relationship with Client Focus and kind of why we've used them, how we've used them, and kind of how we continue to use them in our agency. And, as Dean said, I've used them every year that I've been an agent. I've been with farmers for about 8 years. We've done a annual contract every year. And it just basically, you go back 7, 8 years ago before social media and some of the other marketing platforms that are out there today were really available or in the forefront. Basically we had letters and calling and, going door to door. And I hated making the cold calls. So our district manager at the time and state director turned us on to Client Focus. We got partnered up with Dean, and everything else is kind of history from there. But the reason why we use them is, some of the other calling firms that I've talked to, I just don't get the personal feel that we have with, the folks up at Client Focus. All of his staff, they know our agency, they know who we are, they know how we operate, and they take the time to get to know us so that when they're making calls on our behalf, it's almost as if they're an extension of our agency, not just some random person making a call. And that's always resonated very well with anyone that they've, called for, so that we've gotten a lead from. And, as Dean said, our agency, has been an elite commercial agent with farmers basically since the program came out a couple years ago, mainly because of the amount of commercial we write. And I'd say, a good 60-70% of the business that we have commercially over the years has come from, Client Focus. And so what we used to do and kind of how our relationship and what we do with them is transitioned is initially it was just supplying a list. They'd make the phone calls and we would follow up. And then we kind of transitioned into sending out letters to some commercial prospects and then having them follow up on those letters to see who was interested. And now it's almost where we're using some of our social media and the AMP letters on the personal side of things. And we're kind of transitioning a little bit from the commercial calling even over to personal calling with them, is to where we're, they're calling all of our AMP letters that go out every month now. We've been doing that for about two months now. I think we've been having them do that, and we're starting to get some good results with those. So, that's the other thing I like about them, too, is they're willing and able to adapt with us as our needs change, as we shift from maybe calling commercial to home and auto and back and forth. But, our primary focus with them has always been commercial. And so it's just kind of a nice addition that when people may see our, our billboard or hear the radio ad or see us in the newspaper or wherever they may see us, they're getting to know who we are. So then when Client Focus makes the call as that extension of our agency, that's kind of connecting all the dots. So I guess that's kind of a brief overview of how we've kind of come full circle with them.
Okay. So what we'll do is, can you share some of your success stories, and maybe this will be some of the questions of you do the when a lead comes in, how do you follow up on it and things like that. Maybe let's just explore that for a little bit.
Yeah, so I think what's made us most successful with the leads that we get from you guys. So of course I've talked to, using you guys for so many years, I've had a lot of agents call me that have seen our success with you guys and wanting to know how it works because they tried it and they didn't have success. And I think just like with anything else, it's how you work the leads. you guys could provide us with a stack of leads, but if we don't do anything with them, they're no good. And so whenever we get the leads in from you guys, we always try to make contact with whoever the lead's for, be it an email, a phone call, a letter, so that if they don't want contacted for 8 months because they don't renew for 8 months and they want nothing to do with looking at quotes for 8 months, if we call them in that 7th month trying to get the appointment before the renewal, chances are they forgot that you guys even called. So we don't want to let that lead go to waste when we get it. So we'll send them letters or we'll make phone calls and do things to try to at least keep our name in front of them over the next couple months so that when the time comes for them to renew, they've seen us and they remember that the call came and that they are expecting us to come in to give them a quote, not having to start the process fresh again 7 months later.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Can you share with some of the success stories? I mean, some of the leads that that you've gotten, and what have they developed into, and maybe how the callers have worked up the food chain for you.
Yeah,
Can you share anything about that?
Yeah, we've had you guys call everything from the little mom and pop shop that's a $500 policy all the way up to the big, Wendy's franchises, big trucking companies, whatever the case may be. And we've gotten, a $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 account off of your leads, and we've gotten the $500 and $600 accounts off your leads. And that's what's nice is that if we want to go, quote unquote elephant hunting after the big ones, the girls that call for us from you guys know enough about our agency that as they work up the chain and maybe have to make 4 or 5 phone calls, they know enough about what they're doing to take those steps to get to that point. And they know enough about farmers and who we are as an agency and what we represent that it really, I think the big difference between you guys and, any of the other calling companies is that you truly act as if you're an extension of the agency, not just a random person calling.
Mm-hmm. What would you say to a new agent that has never used us, and we all know that they get frustrated in that 5th or 6th month, and if they don't have any immediate results, I guess what would you say to them to encourage them to just keep going until they crack their first case?
I'm a big believer in the quote from the movie The Field of Dreams: if you build it, they will come. And
okay.
It's just like anything else. I've never done anything in marketing that produces results overnight. It takes time to build it, and it takes time for them to see you. And that's even the case, where we may, get a lead and quote an account that's $100,000. A lot of times you don't write those the first year. It takes 3-4 years of going back to them before you finally get in. Before you finally get into them, they want to make sure, who you are and that you have a reputation, that you have, you're not going to be here today, gone tomorrow. But I think the most important thing when it comes to commercial is picking an industry that you're intelligent in. Obviously for us, our lead has always been restaurants. I worked in restaurants all growing up, have a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge about restaurants. So for me, that was a easy transition for us that when you guys call restaurants and we get out there in front of the people, we're working on leads in an industry that we're knowledgeable about, and that makes a big difference also than, I can't change the oil in my car, so to go into an auto repair shop and try and talk knowledgeable to those guys, I'm not real good at it. So
sure.
I think that's the other thing that's a factor in the commercial too for someone that's new, is to pick something that you know something about.
That you're familiar with. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, hey, let's take a second here, Joel. Let's move to Rob. What we've done as a company is there's 2 different strategies. The one strategy that we've been running on for years and years is to go after the person who handles the business insurance, and then, Sue, you're gonna have to mute the call. Sue. We're in trouble.
That was just my introductory music.
That's good, Rob. I like that. That's really cool. You have to do that next time.
Yeah.
For your exit music.
I didn't have room in my office for a marching band, so.
I like it. That is good. Well, now that I know that, the strategy, I'm still afraid that Sue's not out there. The strategy that we've been on is getting to the person that handles the business insurance. And we've been experimenting with the boss strategy. And so while I'm still chuckling here, Rob, I'm going to have you take over, okay?
Okay. Now, we are Imagery Concepts, or otherwise known as the Main Street Marketing System. We have a marketing system that centers around a piece of software called the Home Organizer, which lets your clients create a digital inventory of their possessions, but it also has digital IDs they can create for their kids, the